When people across the galaxy looked back into old records, there was always one day that stood out more than any other. It was the day Earth vanished. No one forgot it, not even after generations had passed. The recordings showed the same quiet moment again and again, a calm blue planet floating in space, clouds moving gently, cities shining like tiny stars. Then, in less than a heartbeat, everything disappeared. The planet didn't explode. It didn't break apart. It didn't fall into a wormhole. It just vanished, as if someone had drawn a curtain across the sky and removed Earth from the universe. At first, many believed there had to be a mistake. They checked for sensor errors, power glitches, data corruption, anything that would explain something so impossible. But every system confirmed the same truth. The birthplace of humanity was gone. Ships rushed to the sector, hoping to find survivors or some clue. All they found was empty space. No dust, no radiation, no drifting fragments. The entire region felt strangely silent, like reality itself had been interrupted. As years turned into centuries, most species accepted that humans were lost. Some missed them because humans had been unpredictable but also brave. Others secretly felt relieved because humans could be stubborn and bold in ways that made powerful civilizations uncomfortable. Many stories grew around the disappearance. Some claimed Earth had been destroyed by an unknown force. Others said humanity had run from a danger only they sensed. A few even whispered that humans had gone somewhere far beyond normal space. But after 1,000 years, the truth still remained a mystery. And slowly, the memory of Earth faded. Only historians, explorers, and the old archives kept the story alive. Then something changed. It started with a faint signal. Just a small sound, almost nothing. It came from a forgotten corner of space, the same place where Earth had once been. The first observatory to detect it thought it was an old satellite echoing ancient frequencies. But when they checked the pattern, their entire team froze. The signal matched a human distress code 1 that had not been used for more than a millennium. Other stations picked up the sound. It wasn't strong or clear, more like a heartbeat lost inside static. But it kept repeating, steady and calm. Many dismissed it as a ghost recording, something bouncing through time. But deep down, enough people felt the same chill. This signal should not exist. For the first time in ages, fleets started heading toward the old coordinates again. Some came out of curiosity. Some came out of fear. And some came because they still believed humans could not have vanished without reason. The journey was long, but the region stayed as empty as ever. No ships, no stations. Just dark, quiet space where a world once lived. For days, the fleets searched, scanning every particle. The signal grew stronger, but it had no source. It felt as if the sound was coming from everywhere and nowhere at the same time. Then the strange distortion appeared. At first, it looked like a simple energy ripple, something harmless. But it grew larger with every passing second. Lines of light curved across space like cracks forming in glass. Colors shifted in ways no one could describe. When the distortion expanded far enough, the fleets braced themselves, unsure if they were witnessing a breach or something far worse. And then Earth appeared. Not slowly, not gradually. One moment the distortion was empty space. The next moment a familiar blue world floated in front of them. The oceans, the land, the clouds, everything looked as if it had been gone for only a moment. But the galaxy knew the truth. 1,000 years had passed. The ships watching didn't fire or move closer. Many froze, stunned. Some crew members felt their legs shake. Even the strongest fleets in the galaxy had never seen something like this. Earth's return didn't cause any radiation or shock waves. Space simply bent and returned to normal, as if the planet had always been there. But something felt different. At first, scanners focused on the surface. Cities were visible, but they no longer looked like the old ones from recordings. Structures climbed into the sky with shapes no one could identify. Lights moved across the ground in patterns that didn't match normal roads or transport systems. Energy readings rose and fell like slow breathing. Some parts of the planet couldn't be scanned at all, as if blocked by something beyond technology. Inside the control rooms of the watching ships, silence filled every corner. Officers exchanged worried looks. Some wondered if this was really Earth, or just something pretending to be it. Others were afraid, because the planet didn't seem to be radiating any power, but the absence of power itself felt unnatural, like it was hiding something. Still, no one moved. After a few minutes, the faint heartbeat-like signal stopped. The distortion faded completely. Earth hovered quietly, showing no threat, no message, no reaction. It was like a giant secret that chose to return without explaining why. But the galaxy wasn't done receiving surprises. Moments later, an object emerged from behind the planet. It wasn't large. It wasn't armed. It didn't flash any warnings. It looked more like a small craft, smooth and almost absent of detail. The surface didn't show panels or engines or even lights. Yet it drifted forward with absolute control, moving toward the largest fleet. No one recognized the vessel design. It didn't match any human records. It didn't match any known technology in the galaxy. As the craft came closer, the fleets activated communication channels. They sent requests, greetings, warnings, anything. For a while, there was no answer. Then a simple voice came through. Calm, steady, human. The message was short, only a few words, but it carried more weight than 1,000 years of silence. We have returned. Every ship fell silent. Some crew members covered their mouths in disbelief. Others whispered to themselves, unsure whether to feel joy or dread. The voice sounded peaceful, but there was something behind the tone, something the galaxy couldn't identify. The fleets asked for explanations. Where Earth had been, how the planet disappeared, how they survived for 1,000 years. But the human voice did not explain. Instead, it said something even more unsettling. Time passed differently for us. What you call 1,000 years felt much shorter. Our path changed, and we learned things the galaxy has not seen. Earth is not here to harm anyone. The fleets exchanged signals with each other. Confusion spread through every ship. No one knew what to believe. But one thing was clear. This was not the same humanity that vanished. Deep scans on the returning craft failed. Every reading came back blank. Some scanners crashed. Others returned impossible data. No mass, no energy signature, no heat. It was like scanning a shadow. A shadow with a voice that sounded perfectly human. Inside control rooms, people argued quietly. Should they move forward? Should they retreat? Should they inform their governments that something far beyond known science was now standing in front of them? Before any decision could be made, the human voice spoke again. Do not fear Earth. We remember everything. And we know what is coming. The signal ended. The craft changed direction and returned toward the planet, moving silently through space. No engines fired. No heat trails followed. It simply glided back, disappearing behind Earth's shadow. That single moment changed everything. The fleets didn't attack. They didn't retreat. They simply stayed there, watching, unsure what the return of Earth truly meant. The galaxy had believed humans were gone forever. But now they were back with a planet that seemed untouched by time, and a message that suggested something far larger was waiting. And deep down, every observer felt the same thing. Humans had not just returned. They had transformed. No one knew whether this transformation was a blessing or a warning. But everyone knew one. But everyone knew one. Truth. A world missing for 1,000 years was never going to return quietly. When the news of Earth's sudden return spread across the galaxy, It felt like every world stopped breathing for a moment. People who had never seen humans, only heard stories about them, rushed to public screens. Old footage of Earth before its disappearance played everywhere. Some viewers felt excitement, some fear, and many simply could not believe a planet could vanish for 1,000 years and come back as if nothing had happened. Governments were no different. Messages moved between star systems faster than normal traffic. Entire councils woke up from sleep cycles, confused and panicked. Some military commanders wanted fleets to retreat, afraid Earth might bring unknown forces. Others believed this was the moment to approach humanity again, before misunderstandings turned into something worse. But the most common feeling was uncertainty. No one understood how Earth had returned. And the strange craft that spoke with a human voice only made things more confusing. It looked nothing like the ships humans used 1,000 years ago. Even the oldest records had never shown anything so smooth, so silent, so impossible to scan. Every reading failed, as if the craft did not belong to normal space. Yet the voice had been unmistakably human. So the galaxy watched, waited, and whispered. In the days that followed the reappearance, fleets from many governments gathered near the old coordinates. They did not get too close, but they could not stay away either. The return of a whole species could change everything: trade, politics, technology, even the balance of power. The space around Earth became crowded, not with weapons ready to fire, but with curious eyes. Light from different ships blinked across the darkness like distant stars. Most crews were told to stay inside their vessels and avoid sudden movements. No one wanted to risk triggering a misunderstanding. A world that had disappeared for a millennium was unpredictable enough. No one wanted to find out what 1,000-year return had made humans capable of. Inside one of the ships closest to Earth, a group of officers stared at the quiet planet on their large screen. One of them whispered that it looked peaceful, almost too peaceful. The clouds moved like they always had. The oceans reflected sunlight, just as old videos showed, and the night side sparkled with the soft lights of cities. But under that calm surface, something invisible made their stomachs tight. Another officer tried to scan deeper into the planet, hoping the system would finally detect something useful. But like before, the sensors only produced strange patterns, lines that twisted into impossible shapes. Some data even looped back and repeated itself like an echo of information. Earth was back, but normal readings could not describe it. This strange silence troubled more than a few governments. A planet returning with no explanation was one thing, but a planet returning with structures that behaved like they were part of reality and outside reality at the same time was something no one knew how to respond to. Small debates began in many fleets. Should they attempt to contact the surface again? Should they send a drone? Should they wait for humans to speak first? Each choice felt risky. If humans had advanced far beyond known technology, even a simple action could be misunderstood. Contact attempts continued, gentle and respectful, but Earth did not answer. Not a single voice returned through any channel. Instead, the quiet planet remained as still as a secret, waiting for the right moment to reveal itself. A few observers thought humanity might be testing the galaxy, watching how different species reacted. Others believed humans were simply adjusting to their return, maybe rebuilding their systems or stabilizing something hidden beneath the surface. But the truth finally came out, not from Earth, but from the skies above it. On the 4th day after the reappearance, another strange craft emerged. Unlike the first one, this one was larger and carried soft bands of light around it. The light didn't shine like normal energy. It almost looked alive, flowing slowly around the hull. The ship drifted toward the fleets, stopping at a comfortable distance. No one moved for several minutes. Then the same calm human voice spoke again, this time deeper and clearer, as if it came from a person standing right inside the control rooms of every ship. "We can hear you," the voice said. "We know you have questions. You will receive answers soon. But first, the galaxy must remain calm." The voice felt steady, not threatening, not arrogant. But behind it, there was something else, something like quiet confidence. The kind that came from people who had seen things no one else had. One officer from a nearby vessel tried to ask a question, but the voice continued before anyone could interrupt. "We are not returning as conquerors," the voice said. "We are not here to claim territory or demand power. We have learned from our absence, and we understand how much has changed." The fleets waited, some hopeful, some doubtful. Then the voice added something no one expected. "You must not send machines or weapons toward Earth. The planet is still stabilizing. Your devices cannot survive the field around it. We are protecting you as much as ourselves." This statement did not calm anyone. It made things worse. If machines couldn't survive near Earth, what kind of field surrounded it? What had happened to the planet during those 1,000 missing years? The officers on the ships looked at one another helplessly. Humanity's voice sounded honest, almost gentle, but the words themselves felt heavy. Some people believed Earth might be dangerous without meaning to be. Others wondered if humans had gained some control over space itself. A few even suspected that something else might be controlling Earth. But before fear could spread too far, the voice spoke again. "You see Earth from the outside," it said. "But from our view, only 8 days have passed since we left." The fleets erupted with questions. The calm voice continued speaking through the noise, as if unaffected by the shock. "We walked a path that moved differently from time. We did not intend to disappear. We did not intend to be gone for 1,000 years. The universe simply changed its rhythm around us." Then the voice paused, as though giving everyone time to understand the difference between their centuries and humanity's 8 days. When the voice returned, it was softer. "We know the galaxy has grown without us. New civilizations have risen. Old borders have shifted. We will not demand a place among them. We are simply returning home." For a moment, the fleets around Earth felt their fears slowly ease. The voice sounded like a traveler returning from an impossible journey, tired but calm, carrying knowledge too heavy to share yet. But peace never lasted long in the galaxy. One of the governments far from Earth, afraid of losing influence, sent a spy ship to observe from closer range. It was small, quiet, and designed to move without being detected. The crew inside believed they could approach Earth slowly and stay hidden within the Yaltha background. But as soon as they got near the planet, their ship started shaking violently. Inside their control room, alarms blared. Systems flickered and died one by one. The vessel spun wildly, like a leaf caught in a storm. None of their controls responded. It didn't matter how advanced their technology was. They had no power over their ship. All around them, the space near Earth looked normal. No lightning, no flames, no shockwaves. Just a strange invisible force pressing against the ship, turning it sideways. In the fleet, watching from afar, confused officers spoke into their radios, trying to help. They called the spy ship by name, but the crew inside couldn't answer. Their voices were lost in static. Then the ship began being pushed backward, away from Earth, gently but firmly, like a parent guiding a child away from danger. A moment later, the calm human voice returned across every channel. "We warned you," the voice said quietly. "Do not bring machines close. They cannot withstand the field." The fleets froze. Even those who had doubted Earth's warnings now believed them. The spy ship, once proud and advanced, drifted backward with no power. Like a broken toy, the voice spoke again, not angry, not mocking, but simply clarifying. "No harm was done to your crew. But the field around Earth is not something we created. It is something we brought back with us from where we traveled. And until we understand it, we ask the galaxy to give us time. The fleet stayed silent. No one dared argue. Far away, people across the galaxy asked their governments if humanity had become something else entirely. Some feared humans had turned into beings with impossible abilities. Others believed humans were simply survivors of something older and stronger than any known civilization. But almost everyone agreed on one thing. The return of Earth was not the end of the story. It was the beginning of a mystery larger than anyone had expected, and the galaxy felt that whatever explanations were coming next, they would change everything. For days the fleets waited near Earth, keeping a careful distance after the warning about the strange field around the planet. No one dared send probes again. No one dared push forward. Even the governments that usually acted boldly stayed quiet. The galaxy had seen power before, but whatever Earth carried now was different. It wasn't loud. It wasn't aggressive. It wasn't showing force. But the quiet of it made everyone more uneasy than any weapon. People across different worlds gathered around screens to watch new broadcasts. Every hour, some were excited, imagining that humans would return with stories of impossible places. Others feared that Earth had brought back something dangerous. And thousands of ordinary people, who had grown up hearing about humanity only in history lessons, couldn't believe they were witnessing the return of a world most thought was gone forever. Meanwhile, the fleets closest to Earth continued waiting for the next message. They needed answers about the field around the planet, about those strange craft, and about the humans themselves, who spoke softly but seemed to walk through space as if its rules didn't matter. 3 more days passed without any contact. During that time, Earth remained calm. Its lights blinked the same way, its oceans reflected sunlight, and its surface looked peaceful. But no one forgot how scanners failed when trying to read anything deeper. Some officers wondered if humans were watching from inside the planet, studying the fleets, deciding whether the galaxy had changed too much. Others believed humanity was discussing how to reveal the truth about their disappearance. And a few were afraid that something not human was controlling Earth from within. Those fears grew stronger when a new craft appeared above the planet. One was larger than the earlier 2. Its shape was smooth like stone shaped by thousands of years of water. Light flowed around it in gentle waves, not bright like energy, but soft in a way that made no sense. It didn't move like a normal ship. It drifted forward, then paused, then glided again, as if following a rhythm that only it understood. Every ship pointed sensors at it, hoping they could finally learn something. But once again, readings failed. Some systems shut down. Others returned loops and distortions. One vessel even lost power for a few seconds before rebooting. Yet the craft did nothing threatening. It simply moved closer to the fleets and stopped. Then a voice spoke. It was human again, but this time warmer, sounding like someone who had been waiting a long time to speak. "We understand your fear." The fleets went silent. "We know our return is confusing. And we know the galaxy fears what it cannot measure." The voice paused, letting those listening settle their breath. "You want to know where we went. You want to know what we became. You want to know why we brought back this field that bends your machines. And we will tell you. But the answers are not simple." In one of the nearby ships, an officer whispered that the voice didn't sound like a leader giving orders. It sounded like a traveler speaking to old friends who had been apart too long. The voice continued. "Our disappearance was not our choice. Earth was pulled away, not by an enemy, not by a disaster, but by something older than anything the galaxy has studied." The fleets shifted in uneasy silence. "We reached a place that does not follow your laws. A place rewritten by forces that existed before light had formed. A place where time moves like a river that can flow forward, then slow, then circle. Some people listening thought it was a metaphor. Others felt chills, sensing the voice was speaking plainly. In that place, we were not alone. The fleets leaned forward, hanging on to every word. We met beings older than galaxies. They were not hostile. They did not demand anything. They simply observed, and we observed them. We learned through silence, not through war. Through patience, not through fear. They showed us the shape of the universe before the universe took its shape. The officer who had whispered earlier now felt her hands trembling. It was not fear. It was something else, like standing before a truth too large to comprehend. And though it felt like days to us, 1,000 years passed here. The voice softened. We did not ask for this power. We do not fully control it. We returned with knowledge that bends your machines because it bends the fabric of space itself. But we are still human. We are still what we were: curious, hopeful, stubborn, and alive. The fleet stayed still. For a moment, no one breathed. The voice spoke again. We did not come back to rule. We came back because the beings we met told us something important. The pause felt heavy, as if the next words carried a warning. A change is coming. Something the galaxy will not understand when it arrives. We do not know when. But when we faced it in that other place, we were shown only one truth: no world should face it alone. The officers in the fleets exchanged alarmed glances. Some believed it, some didn't, but everyone felt the weight of the message. The voice continued gently. Think we are different because of the silence around Earth. You think we are powerful because your machines cannot read us. But we have not changed inside. We carry memories of oceans, forests, cities, music, and laughter. We are still human. The light around the craft dimmed slightly, almost like a sigh. We return not as guardians, not as conquerors, not as rulers. We return as partners for those who want to walk with us. The galaxy has grown in our absence. We respect that. We will not push ourselves into your systems. Another small pause. But the danger we were shown is not something any single species can stand against. Not your fleets. Not your councils. Not even our planet alone. The fleets finally began to understand why Earth had not explained everything at once. The truth wasn't just about humans changing. It was about the universe changing. The voice spoke again, softer now, almost like a friend sharing a secret. You are afraid of us because you cannot measure our ships, because your machines fail near Earth, because your scanners return strange shapes. But understand this: the field around Earth is not a weapon. It is a shield, not made by us, but given to us. We are still trying to understand it. That simple admission, we are still trying to understand it, made many listeners feel a surprising comfort. Even after everything humanity had seen, they were still learning, still curious, still imperfect, still human. The voice ended with a promise. We will open communication slowly. You'll meet us directly soon, not through machines, but face to face. You will see that we are not what you fear. Then the craft turned, drifting back toward Earth, without sound, without power trails, without anything that looked familiar. The fleets watched it disappear behind the planet. No one followed. No one dared dot in the days that followed. The galaxy argued endlessly. Some believed humans had become something more than mortal. Some believed they were lying. Some feared the warning about what is coming. Others thought humans were simply trying to protect the galaxy from something beyond understanding. But one thing became clear to everyone. Humanity's return was not peaceful or hostile. It was simply different. They were not acting like a species that wanted power. And they were not acting like victims returning from a tragedy. They moved with calm confidence, as if they knew the path ahead. And the galaxy realized something simple. but unsettling. Humans had not come back to take anything. They had come back because something out there might take everything. For many days after the strange craft delivered its message, the galaxy talked about nothing else. Every world, every station, every fleet tried to understand what the humans meant when they said they had met beings older than galaxies. Some believed the humans were telling the truth. Others said they were hiding something. And some thought the entire return was a sign that the universe itself was changing. Even the fleets near Earth remained confused. Their ships circled the same distance, watching the planet quietly. And although the strange field around Earth made their sensors useless, no one dared move away. They all felt something important was happening, something that would shape the future of every civilization. Yet amid all the silence, one thing became clear. Humanity had returned, but they were not interested in forcing anyone to believe them. They stayed calm. They stayed quiet. They did not send warships or threats. They simply waited. On the seventh day, after the last message, the fleets finally saw something different. A new glow appeared around Earth, faint at first, like a thin ring of soft light. Many thought it was a natural reflection, something caused by the field around the planet. But when the glow slowly expanded, spreading outward like a gentle wave, the fleets panicked. Some ships raised shields. Others prepared to retreat. A few even locked weapons, thinking the glow was the start of an attack. But the wave moved so slowly, so peacefully, that soon it became clear it wasn't dangerous. When the wave reached the nearest ships, nothing exploded. No systems crashed. Instead, every screen suddenly cleared. For the first time since Earth's return, the machines worked again. Scanners lit up with new readings. But the readings weren't what anyone expected. Instead of showing land, oceans, cities, or energy signatures, the scanners showed an image of Earth's interior, but not as a solid planet. It looked layered, almost like a massive sphere of old memories, each layer showing a different era of human history. There were ancient forests, oceans untouched by technology, early cities, then modern ones, then something else entirely, structures no one in the present galaxy had ever seen. These strange structures looked half material, half energy, as if they were built with matter shaped by thought. They pulsed gently, blending into the planet itself. No one in the fleets understood how something could be part of a planet, yet also not fully solid. Before confusion could spread too far, the human voice returned. "You see fragments," the voice said softly. "Not the truth. Earth is not what it once was, and neither are we. But do not fear this. We will explain." The fleets listened closely. This time, no one argued. No one interrupted. And the voice began to reveal more than anyone had expected. When Earth was pulled from this universe, we did not know where we were going. Our oceans froze for a moment. Our sky went dark. And the darkness changed. It opened. And we found ourselves in a place outside the universe you understand. The officers on the listening ships leaned closer to their screens. Their hands shook slightly, not out of fear, but because the voice sounded like someone remembering something too large for words. In that place, we found structures older than everything. Not buildings, not cities. They were shapes, silent shapes. They held meaning without speaking it. They gave knowledge without teaching it. The voice paused, and they showed us a way to think differently. To see the universe not as something separated into planets and stars, but as something that breathes and grows. A single living pattern. The fleets tried to understand. Most couldn't, but everyone felt the weight of the words. That pattern touched Earth. It rewrote part of our planet. Not physically, not by force, but by allowing us to interact with matter the way those ancient beings interacted with reality. The voice lowered, becoming almost like a whisper. We did not become all-knowing. We did not gain endless power, but we learned how to move between the lines of existence, how to step into the space between what is seen and what is hidden. One officer whispered that the humans were describing something like a new dimension. Another officer said it sounded more like thought-shaping energy. But none of them could find a simple explanation. The voice continued. The structures you see inside Earth now are not machines. They are memories. Memories of what we learned. Memories of that place. They formed naturally when our planet returned. They are part of Earth now, just like forests, oceans, and clouds. A long silence followed this. The fleets finally understood why their scanners had been failing. They had been looking for mechanical shapes, physical patterns, or energy fields. But the new structures inside Earth were made of something. Different something that did not fit into any known category. But the explanation was not over. You fear that we have become something more than human, the voice said. You fear that the field around Earth is a weapon. It is not. It is simply a protection formed by the shift between dimensions when we returned. We cannot turn it off yet. That is why your machines fail. But your people will not be harmed. Then came the part that changed everything. The beings we met did not only show us knowledge. They showed us a threat. Every officer in every fleet froze. They showed us a shape in the future, a movement in the pattern of the universe. Something coming. Something that grows slowly, but changes everything it touches. The voice, once calm, now carried a hint of sadness. They told us that when this thing reaches your galaxy, it will not see borders. It will not see races or governments. It will not understand the idea of territory. It will simply reshape whatever it touches into something unrecognizable. The fleets held their breath. We saw only a glimpse of it, a shadow of a possibility. But it was enough. The voice continued slowly. We returned because they said our galaxy is not ready. Not technologically. Not mentally. Not united. Many officers exchanged uneasy glances. The galaxy was filled with rivalries, political games, trade disputes, and old grudges. Many species could barely trust each other. How could they stand together? But the voice went on. You think we have changed beyond recognition. But the truth is that we returned because we are still human. Because humans protect what they love. Because humans do not run from danger, even when it is impossible. Then the voice added something that hit every listener deeply. We came back to offer help. Not leadership. Not power. Not control. Help. Another pause. Because the threat we saw cannot be faced by a single world. Not by Earth. Not by any one species. It requires the galaxy to stand as one. And we will stand with you, not above you. The fleets did not know how to respond. Some felt hope. Some felt fear. Some felt both at the same time. But for the first time since Earth's return, they felt the truth behind humanity's calmness. Humans had not come back to intimidate anyone. They had come back because something greater than themselves had shown them a danger that affected everyone. The voice ended softly. This is why we ask for patience. We are still learning how to control what we brought back. We are still learning how to step fully into this universe again. But when the time comes, when the danger we saw begins to move Earth, we'll not stand alone. And neither will you. The fleets remained silent for a long time. No one spoke. No one issued commands. The galaxy had finally heard the truth, not about power, not about technology, but about a warning carried by a planet that disappeared for 1,000 years and returned with knowledge no one expected. When Earth returned after disappearing for 1,000 years, the entire galaxy watched every move with silent caution. No one wanted to provoke anything because no one truly knew what humanity had become. There were old memories of humans as explorers, dreamers, builders, and sometimes troublemakers. But the humans who came back seemed different in a way that was hard to describe. They were calm, collected, and strangely confident, as if they carried a secret no one else could understand. When the first human ships began to travel across known space again, they didn't arrive with loud engines or bright signals. They appeared quietly, almost like they slipped into existence from somewhere deeper than normal space. Many observers tried to track their movements, but every system failed. Some believed it was stealth technology. Others believed it was something completely new. Whatever it was, the humans didn't explain it. They simply visited different worlds, listened to their problems, and offered help if needed. The galaxy was confused. No one expected humans to come back after 1,000 years with such power, yet they didn't act like conquerors or rulers. They didn't demand anything. They didn't ask for land, resources, or political control. Instead, they seemed more interested in balance, in preventing chaos. Some worlds were struggling with environmental collapse. Others had old conflicts that threatened to erupt into war. Wherever trouble increased, a human ship appeared quietly, willing to assist. On one world, a star was dying much earlier than expected. The local scientists had tried everything, but could not stop the collapse. Their leaders debated evacuating millions of people, but they knew they didn't have enough ships or time. When a human vessel arrived, the local council didn't know what to say. They expected the humans to watch from a distance or offer comforting words. But the humans examined the star for a few minutes and said they could stabilize it. The locals laughed at first, thinking it was impossible. But then they watched the humans activate an unknown device, something that didn't belong to any technology they had ever seen. Light surrounded the star like a gentle net, and for a few moments the star pulsed quietly. Then it stopped shaking. Its energy pattern stabilized. The catastrophe was avoided. People didn't cheer right away. They were too shocked. When the humans told them there was no payment needed, just cooperation in the future, many leaders were left speechless. Some even felt uneasy. Saving a star was something only ancient myths spoke of. Now humans had done it casually, as if this knowledge was just another tool they carried. Across the galaxy, stories spread like wildfire. Some spoke of human healers who walked into war zones and ended conflicts simply by showing what destruction truly meant. Others claimed humans could sense when a disaster was coming, arriving just in time. No one had solid proof of how they knew so much, or how they did so many impossible things. Still, one fact became clear everywhere people talked. This new humanity was no longer just another civilization. They were something else, something that had seen and learned more than anyone could imagine. Many political leaders felt nervous. When one species becomes too powerful, others always worry. A few secret alliances formed quietly, discussing how they should react if humans someday turned hostile. But whenever these groups saw humans helping smaller planets, protecting weak colonies, or rebuilding entire regions destroyed by ancient battles, their fear softened a little. The mystery surrounding Earth remained the biggest question. Scientists from countless species begged for access to study the planet, but the humans kindly refused. They said the world needed time to settle back into this universe, whatever that meant. Some spying attempts were made, but every device sent toward Earth simply vanished without explanation. When those responsible were confronted, the humans didn't punish them. They only said, "Curiosity is normal, but this is not the right time." Even the most aggressive species grew a bit more careful. If humans could erase a star-level disaster with a wave of energy, what else could they do? The galaxy had seen powerful nations before, but none behaved the way humans were behaving now. Power without arrogance, strength without threat. It made them unpredictable, but in a strangely comforting way. Still, something felt off. It wasn't fear or tension. It was more like humans were preparing for something. They traveled a lot, gathered information, scanned old ruins, visited quiet corners of space no one cared about. It felt like they were mapping something bigger, something only they could see. The first real clue appeared when a group of ambassadors from different worlds was invited to a meeting with human representatives. The ambassadors didn't know what to expect. They prepared speeches, agreements, and even defensive plans in case the meeting went badly. But when they arrived, the humans welcomed them warmly and offered food from Earth. A simple gesture, but meaningful. The meeting room wasn't grand or decorated with symbols of power. It looked like an ordinary hall, peaceful and quiet. The humans spoke softly and clearly, explaining that they appreciated the galaxy's patience and cooperation. Everyone nodded politely, waiting for the real purpose. Then the human speaker said something that made every ambassador fall silent. We didn't return because we wanted influence. We returned because something else is coming. For a moment, no one understood. The words felt too heavy, too sudden. The human continued, explaining that during Earth's disappearance, they had crossed into a region of existence outside the normal universe. There, they met beings older than galaxies, entities that watched over cosmic cycles. What humans learned there changed them forever. But the most important thing they discovered wasn't knowledge or power. It was a warning. According to what they had seen, a threat was moving through space slowly, but surely, a force that consumed entire star clusters without negotiation or emotion. It wasn't a species or an army. It was something much stranger, something that didn't think or communicate the way life did. It simply existed, and its existence meant destruction. The ambassadors felt cold dread. Many asked questions at once. How long do they have? Where is this force now? Can it be stopped? The humans didn't answer immediately. They seemed to choose their words carefully. It can be slowed, they said, but not by one world, not by one alliance, only by all of us together. The galaxy had always been divided by politics, history, and pride. Some worlds didn't trust each other. Some were rivals. Some had fought for generations. But hearing that a cosmic threat was approaching changed everything. Leaders who once refused to sit at the same table now found themselves discussing alliances, defenses, and shared technology. Humans didn't try to lead these meetings. They offered guidance, shared knowledge, and connected species that had never spoken before. Instead of building a human empire, they built cooperation across the galaxy. And slowly, a new understanding formed. Humanity hadn't come back to dominate. They came back to prepare everyone for a fight that no one else had seen coming. As the story ends, a quiet moment takes place above Earth. A group of human ships stands in orbit, watching a distant cluster of stars flicker unnaturally, as if something is stirring there. The humans say nothing, but their silence carries a weight everyone can feel. They have returned not as rulers, but as guardians. The galaxy finally understands that humanity didn't just come back stronger. They came back with a purpose. And whether the coming danger brings darkness or unity, no world will face it alone ever again.